One thing about having a globe, it shows you that there's life outside of where we are, meaning that where you're at is only one place in the universe, but there's other opportunities in life that you could be exploring, that you could be enjoying. At the same time, there's somebody else on the other side of the world that's wishing to be where you're at that very moment. Think about that.
It's a good humbling experience. I think it always keeps you grounded and reminds you to be grateful and thankful.
Absolutely.
Join me, Jeremy Swick, on Into the Unknown, a podcast that delves into the personal journeys, stories, and experiences of individuals across diverse professions. As a historian by trade, I firmly believe that our personal histories shape our present and offer valuable insights into our paths ahead. With that being said, let's get into it. On this episode of Into the Unknown, I am joined with a very special guest, Michael Dillard. How are you doing today?
I am doing amazing, outstanding, couldn't ask for more.
I love to hear that, Michael. I want to say I appreciate the globe in the background. I got to find where my globe is. It's packed away in one of these boxes somewhere.
That's right. One thing about having a globe, it shows you that there's life outside of where we are, meaning that where you're at is only one place in the universe, but there's other opportunities in life that you could be exploring, that you could be enjoying. At the same time, there's somebody else on the other side of the world that's wishing to be where you're at that very moment. Think about that.
It's a good humbling experience. I think it always keeps you grounded and reminds you to be grateful and thankful.
Absolutely.
So I like to kick off the show and talk about the importance of networking. It's kind of crazy what the internet and technology does. We actually are connected through social media, if you can believe it or not.
Yes, we are. This is the great social media. Being able to be in different rooms and spaces will allow you to network with people all around the world.
So I want to know that comic book issue number one, that origin story. Who are you, Michael?
Wow, who is Michael Dillard? Michael Dillard has so many names. You can call me Mr. Resilient. Why? Because I've overcome multiple obstacles that people would not have been able to surpass. Kind of like being in a boxing ring, going there round one, you get hit. A lot of people just fold. A lot of people will fold, but I didn't. I was resilient. My mom had me when she was in high school, young, age 16. Think about that. Having a head start in life? No. I started from behind, but I kept climbing up. I kept jumping in the ring. And then fast forward, my mom, they tried to make it work with my dad. They got married, but it didn't work. All of a sudden, single parent, living low income. That's where I came from. However, I'll tell you more later on, but I became resilient and I kept overcoming obstacles that came my way, which is why I like to share my story and the tools I use to help people who start off in chapter one, get into chapter 10 in their life.
Michael, what do you think kept that resilience going? What do you think started that?
Exposure. What I realized is that when I was young, my father was in the military. So we traveled to Germany as a young 4 year old, 5 year old, living in another country, being exposed. When I came back to the US, I had a different mindset. I had one of, wow, there's great things on the other side of the globe. Imagine that. We're back to the globe story, right? There's great things on the other side of the world. So, what's happening in your little world right now is not permanent. Your situation is not permanent, and thus, you know, I realized one thing about life. Life is special. Life is special. It's all about the experiences in life. If you don't have a test, you can't have a testimony.
Michael, I love that outlook. Do you think and you appear, even at a young age, you're pretty well grounded in understanding this world's much bigger than our immediate circumstances. Besides the military experience, what made you kind of have that outlook growing up?
Actually, I want to say it was Upward Bound. There's a federal program called Upward Bound. Shout out to the success teachers, professors that support Upward Bound. That was the catalyst that just opened up the floodgates for me. How did it happen? I'm sitting in the classroom. The teacher comes. She hands me a piece of paper to fill out. I fill out the piece of paper, take it home to my mom like a good child. My mom signs the form. On the form, it says, your child can get government support If no one in your immediate family has graduated from college, you're low income, etc. I checked all of the boxes, every single one. Fast forward on the weekends, I'm going from 8 to 10, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sorry, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. I'm going to Austin Peay State University's campus on the weekends, getting tutoring support in math, English, and science. In addition, they're exposing us to the world, talking about social sciences. During the summer, they take us on field trips to the museum. They take us to the parks. They tell us about the rules of golf. Therefore, I became exposed to the world around me and my surroundings. Had I not had that upward bound experience, I just would have been a product of my immediate local small nucleus environment. But upward bound expanded my surroundings. It gave me more things to look at. Therefore, I developed the vision plus action equal success mindset. I said, if I can get that college degree, if I can finish school and get the bachelor's degree, like they said, that doors that was once locked to me as a young boy would become unlocked. When it happened, when I got that degree and doors began to unlock, that is when I realized the recipe for success.
Michael, I appreciate that. When you started out college, as you mentioned, what was that experience like going in uncharted waters?
Exactly what you imagine. Imagine someone gives you a canoe boat with a paddle, and it's dark, and it's lightning, and it's raining, and it's storm, and they say, "Here you go, Michael. Go. You need to get in this boat, and you need to make it across the river to the other side by yourself." Imagine going through the waters choppy. I'm getting tired. I'm trying to get to the other side. No guidance, no vision. That was my reality because remember, my parents at that time hadn't graduated from high school. They dropped out.
What what was that experience like once you finally did get your degree? And what did you study when you were in college?
When I finally got the degree, I graduated from Middle Tennessee State University. Shout out to Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Got my degree in interdisciplinary studies. I was ready. I was ready to go get that six-figure job, and then reality hit me like it hits a lot of college students. I had that college degree in one hand. I'm applying for jobs, and they're like, "Michael, you don't have experience. You want to work and be a personal finance banker? You don't have experience." So I ended up having the opposite problem. At first, listen, folks, I had the experience managing people, managing the supervising floors and etc. But I didn't have the degree, so I couldn't become an assistant manager at the time. Now I got my degree and I want to go to be a personal banker. And they're like, you have no experience. So what did I do? I took a pay cut, 50% pay cut. I went and got an internship thanks to the career resources from Middle Tennessee State University that was advertised. I saw an internship that paid. I had to take a pay cut. I bet on myself. 10 weeks later, I finished the internship and they hired me. Why? Because I realized in life, you have to mark your work with excellence. You have to do the job no matter how much they're paying for it. Do your best. It's not about how much they're paying, it's about the effort that you can put in. I put in the effort, I got hired. And then later on, I transitioned. I got my MBA in personal finance to help families build a financial legacy. And my life just kept on growing from there.
Michael, what do you think is the reason that you were willing to take that pay cut? Because I know not everyone would. There's a lot of people, as you know, people create their own jails, and sometimes we sit in our own jails knowing that our pursuit or our choice for happiness could be on the other side if we just lowered or maybe humbled ourselves to take something that we actually either enjoyed or knew that it would help us grow.
Yeah, if you start walking and you hit a door and you keep trying to go through that locked door, it's insanity. I realized the door is locked, Michael. Either go back and get some people to help you knock that door down or take a different path. My mindset was time to pivot, take a new approach. My vision was there. The action that I needed to change. I adjusted my action, put in the work and the effort, and I believe I had faith that look, if I do what I'm supposed to do, great things are going to happen. Great things are going to come into fruition for me. And that's what happened.
Michael, so you pivot, you get the internship, and then What happens next?
I'm working at the bank. I'm trying to help people. So I got my MBA in personal finance that they help pay for. I'm helping families, I'm helping people with their personal finances. And then I decide to use my skills to go work at Dell Computers at the small, medium, and business division. I'm working with small business entrepreneurs, helping them grow their small businesses with the IT equipment. Life is good. And then all of a sudden, one day, something told me, go back and get a master's in accounting. I was like, no, 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 I'm good. I already got my master's in personal finance. I'm making good money. I'm making nice money wearing t-shirt, flip flops, and a hat to work. Think about that. I'm making good money wearing t-shirts, hat, and a flip flop to work. Life is good. But then the little personal development bug said, Michael, when you watch movies, do you put the tape in the VHS tape? Do you put a beta tape in? No, that stuff is extinct. When you're rolling down the street, listen to your music. Are you putting in an 8 track? No, you're not doing that. That's extinct. Michael, are people still going to pay $2,000, $1,500 for a computer? I said, you got a good point. Personal development bug, you got a good point. I'm with you. What did I do? I started going back and to get my master's in accounting. And then it happened. My supervisor comes and taps me on the shoulder. Michael, we got to let you go. 2008, 2009 mortgage crisis. Now, I'm still studying to try and get my degree, but I hadn't finished quite yet. The mortgage crisis is hitting. Laid off, driving down the street. I have to go pick my daughter up from daycare, tell the attendant that, look, I can't afford it no more because I got laid off. That's painful, folks. That's a painful feeling, painful conversation. But I had confidence because I had my MBA in personal finance. And I just finished my master's in accounting. So I was feeling pretty optimistic. And then I figured I was going to get unemployment. So I'm like, okay, life will be good. When I tell you, they said I got the max, I qualified for the max for unemployment. I was making about $1,500 a week. And they said, congratulations, you get the max of $200 a week. Woo! Talking about stepping on toes, shock and awe, all at the same time. Life became real. 2 months, no job, folks. No job for 2 months, unemployed. Now, my wife had a job. She was doing okay, but we needed my other income. We needed that income. So you wonder, Michael, how are y'all surviving for 2 months on the $800 a month unemployment check? Remember, I had got my MBA in personal finance. So I implemented the 5 principles that I teach, that I write about in my book, Build Generational Wealth, Retire Early. I had done step one, buy 30-year term life insurance ASAP. So for $30 a month, I had a $500,000 term life insurance. So I was set. Something happened, I'm set. Something happened to me, my kids would be taken care of. Number two, invest in your 401k. Because if you put in $500 for the month and they put in $500, that's 100% return on your money. Who likes free money? Do you like free money? I like free money.
Love
So
it.
I wasn't going to let that free money go. Now, Einstein said compound interest is one of the eight wonders of the world, folks. And I was getting it. He who understands it earns it. So I had money in my 401k account. And that's how we survived for a few weeks. But the money was becoming low. My money was becoming funny, y'all. And then it happened. I got a call. Hey, we want you to come interview to be an assistant store manager for a clothing store in the mall. I'm excited. I'm like, okay, we can stop the floodgates from happening in the bank account. Then my wife is like, nah, you don't need to go apply for that job. You don't need to go interview. Now, keep in mind, folks, she's pregnant with our second child at that. What type of spouse does that? So while I'm interviewing for the job, she's outside praying, I don't get the job. Visualize that. That's a sight to see, folks. Finished the interview. I'm excited. I feel like I got it. So I'm like, yeah, things went well. I can't wait to get the call or the email. So the next day, folks, listen up. I check my email, and what do I have in my inbox? An invitation to go and interview in Washington, D.C. for a different job. It required me to have a top secret security clearance. It required me to learn a foreign language. It required my entire family to be able to pass a medical background. At this point in time, I am like, what type of job is this? Because remember, when I was laid off, I was broke but still living. I had applied for hundreds of jobs. What would you do if you was laid off and your wife was pregnant? You apply for any and everything, right? So I'm applying and applying. So I'm like, what job is this? So I do a research on the job. Type in United States Agency for International Development, pull it up. It says Foreign Service Officer requirements. You got to pass an FBI background check. We're going to go talk to your neighbors, your high school teachers. We want to know every and everything. We want to know, what did you eat when you was 5 years old? That's right. So they so now I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Then I read down at the bottom. It says that when you travel overseas, you will get a diplomatic passport. That is when I realized, folks, I accidentally applied to be a U.S. diplomat. But the story is not that. That's not the point I want to make. The other last requirement was that it required you to have a master's in accounting. Woo! Listen to yourself. When something tells you inside to pivot, to get up off that rock, when that rock is painful, you got to get up off that rock because you don't know what's coming next for you in your future, folks.
Michael, I appreciate that. I think it's so true. I don't know what it is inside you, but when you start to feel that, I think the first time it's really, really scary, but I think the more and more you do it, it's almost like an exciting thing. You're like, okay, I don't know what my body's telling me. I don't know what my spirit is telling me, but I need to do XYZ. And in your case, it was getting a second master's degree in accounting, even though you at that point you had a pretty comfortable living and you had just applied for jobs. And I think anyone who's been in a position like that, you just start applying. You think, oh, I could probably do this, or you get to the point where you're just send, as much as you can to find something to
Yes,
support yourself and your family.
you are spot on. Those words you're using are spot on.
You have the interview. What happens with that email you got?
Oh, I follow the logistical instructions, get on the plane, I go, I interview, and as they say, the rest is history. I ended up becoming a US diplomat, traveling the world with my family, exposing them to other cultures around the world, and being able to be a testament to other people that despite humble beginnings, that you too can climb that mountain.
Now, when did your wife tell you that she had prayed that you didn't get the job?
Oh, immediately, immediately. She don't hold nothing back.
I love it. I love it. What was that like going from working the jobs you had to becoming a diplomat? As you know, that's not a job that most people ever have.
Yeah, so I'll talk in general from a career perspective because like my job is my job and my personal life is my personal life. And so I'm here once again speaking on capacity as my lived experience as Michael Dillard overcoming being Mr. Resilient. Basically, it was like being in the military because I was in the army. I cut my story short. I did join the army after I went to college for one semester. I joined the army for 4 years, learned the skill, got the GI Bill to help pay for college. Thus, when I ended up becoming accepted to work for the agency, it was pretty much like being on a military assignment, going from country to country every 3 to 5 years, helping countries to eradicate poverty, helping people to have access to education, health services, so that they can have a better life.
Michael, that's incredible. On everyone's journey, you kind of make a decision, not really knowing the outcome. Can you give me a time through your story that you made a decision and just went for it?
The decision was to when I was like, I'm gonna take that internship. Yeah, I write about it in my book, Accidental Success. I was like, look, I have a decision to make. I got the diploma in my hand, no job offers. I'm still working regular. Hey, welcome to X. Can I help you? I want that banking experience, but I could stick it out and say, hey, welcome to so and so. Can I help you? And hope that I'm gonna climb the ladder. But I I pivoted. I said, no, let me do what I like. See, I like to help people build financial legacy. I like to teach personal finance. So let me do something that's closer to my heart. So I pivoted and took a chance on helping other people and being used.
Michael, that's incredible. Title of the podcast, Into the Unknown. What are you working on? Tell me more about your book as well.
Okay, working on accidental success talks about my life story, all the nitty gritty things, the mindset I had when I was depending on food stamps, when life was hard, how I overcame multiple obstacles in life. I write every single detail out in the book. I teach you my leadership skills that I learned along the way, being in the military, traveling, becoming a leader. That's what that book kind of showcases. Someone who wants to change their mindset. That's the book for you. But if you want to be entertained, folks, if you want to learn how to leave a financial legacy for your family, the bottom book, the green one, Build Generational Wealth, Retire Early. It is a nonfiction book. It talks about how Marcus met Latoya at church. That's right. Marcus met Latoya at church. He asked her out on a date to go watch the football game. They go to the football game and they start dating and they go and they get married. And their uncle, the wise, wealthy uncle, gives them the book, Build Generational Wealth, Retire Early, that lays out the 5 principles to build a financial legacy. So Marcus and Latoya was able to teach their generation how to leave a financial legacy, while some of their friends didn't quite make it. But you will learn more about their stories when you read the book. So I'm working on advertising the book. In addition, based upon demand, I'm doing online free vision boards for people. So you can log on to my calendar, book a free vision board for the month of January. And then I'm transitioning to some free leadership and personal finance classes as well. My goal is to help people become 1% better every day.
Michael, I appreciate that. And I can see your body of work kind of goes back to you as a youngster, that experience and that exposure. If you don't know anything about financial literacy or just what steps to even take, sometimes I think that can be overwhelming for a lot of people and they can't really help the next generation or themselves without knowing that information. So I appreciate you sharing that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Where can people find you online on social media? Where are you at?
One stop shop. www.madillard.com. www.madillard.com. If you want access to my speaking reels, you want me to come and speak, the footage and the proof is there. If you want free resources on how to understand compounding interest, the link to my YouTube channel is there. If you want access to a free checklist on how you can build generational wealth, guess what? The resources there as well. madillard.com. I got you covered.
Michael, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. I've truly appreciated it. And just thanks again for your time.
Thank you for having me on the show.
That was another fun episode of Into the Unknown. I truly appreciate you taking the time to listen. And if it provides you any value or entertainment, I would love if you shared it with others, liked, subscribed, and really just help the podcast grow. Again, tell a friend, tell a foe, just anyone who might enjoy hearing some stories of people's own journeys and what got them to where they are today. Till next time.